Hi, it's nice to be in Copenhagen again. So, in this fast-moving and complex world, the pressing issues of today, climate change, environmental degradation, biodiversity loss, food security, poverty, migration, gender equality, slavery, to name but a few, are all perceived as being disconnected, both from one another and from us as citizens. But these issues are all connected, and this powerful interplay must be deeply understood by businesses and the commercial world, and the complex supply chains made of living, breathing human beings who face real challenges, government, supranational bodies and NGOs, and all of us as citizens who must be empowered, become actively engaged, and part of the solution. Active citizens and active consumers. We always think that we can make the right decision, but we have never yet in human industrial history done so. People and planet are always an afterthought. Things are slightly more complicated now by the fact that we are faced with the fourth industrial revolution. And Industry 4.0, as we might also call this epoch, promises plenty of disruption. But whether or not this is welcome depends on how we steer a course through change. Should this be a question of making decisions predicated on social justice and ethics? I would say loud and clear, yes. Today we have choices, and we should be the designers, the architects, the instigators of the future. It just can't happen to us. And it must be a collaborative process too. We must make the right choices to ensure that the youth of today are the informed leaders of tomorrow. We must educate the leaders of tomorrow today. For some time, EcoAge has harnessed the power of fashion to talk about some of the challenges we face. Why? Well, because fashion is not only an all-spectrum industry, it starts from agriculture, it ends up at communication, but it's also the second largest, most polluting industry after mining and oil, and one of the biggest employers of slave labor worldwide. And we can thank fast fashion for that. The good news is, though, that we as active citizens have a huge power, and we can truly drive change. Look at what happened to the CEO of Uber, who joined Donald Trump Business Council and had to step down when his business was truly damaged when tons of people deleted the app. With fashion, we have an even more powerful opportunity because, as you might have heard me saying many times, the world is not run by naked people. We get dressed every day, and so we can make a huge difference. But we need to understand the system first. Connecting citizens with what has been called one of the most critical initiatives of our times, the global goals, is absolutely essential and exciting if we wish to see a path to a more sustainable and just future. So EcoAge recognizes that fashion is connected to all 17 of these goals, and therefore is a perfect campaigning tool to activate citizens and shift the global agenda. Because the alternative, and one of the most simplistic predictions around this epoch, is that, for example, we simply remove troublesome citizens or humans from the equation. Against the backdrop of an exploding global population, the fear is that the fourth industrial revolution could spell a social crisis on a scale we haven't yet witnessed. The dystopian nightmare which we are all pretending we're not being part of. But in our case, fashion is a human industry. It's an industry that relies on and needs people. Are we saying that we don't need human involvement anymore? Are we now saying that we are happy to throw on the scrap heap the 17 million people currently in the supply chain because we think we can produce more efficiently, even cheaper, and even faster using technology? Ultimately, though, the real point is, whether more jobs in the supply chain will get automated or not, nothing should be incompatible with workers' rights, with protecting this human capital. And today, we have a choice to make. Since the bar is currently quite low, how do we make sure this epoch and the global goals which are now part of our solution are actually a force for dramatic progress? Today, thanks to the global goals, we have a 17-point plan laying out social and natural capital goals, and no one, government, business, and civil society should be exempt from these, from not understanding the intrinsic values of the goals and the need to apply them rigorously and why. So to engage citizens and unleash the power of our wardrobe, as we say, EcoAge has launched a powerful campaign to ask everyone to redress the world. So 2017 is our call to action to redress the world and make sure fashion claims its rightful seat in the global political agenda. Some might find this surprising, but I certainly don't. And it's the only way we will drive systemic change. So how is fashion related to the 17 global goals? Well, I can assure you that EcoAge, our team, has joined the dots, and every single global goal is related to what we're wearing, to what you're wearing tonight. So we encourage you to investigate. There is a lot of information on our website, but because time is tight, I can't show you every single one, but I want to give you some example. So global goal number 1, no poverty. Well, the people who make our clothes live in poverty, usually earning just half of what they need to meet their basic needs and care for their families. Global goal number 5, gender equality. Approximately 80% of garment workers globally are women. Gender discrimination runs deep throughout the countries in which garments are currently produced, with women frequently subjected to verbal and physical abuse and sexual harassment. Global goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. Many clothing companies face problems with labor conditions throughout the supply chain, including child labor, low wages, and health and safety hazards. Rooting out these problems will require businesses to measure sustainability performance across the entire supply chain, set goals for improvements, help suppliers to reduce their impact, and hold suppliers accountable if they don't. Goal number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The Rana Plaza disaster was not an isolated incident in a country where an estimated 90% of buildings do not meet building regulations. So disasters are a regular feature of an industry that employs nearly 4 million people. Goal 10, reduced inequality. The garment industry is truly global, with value chains spread all over the world. But global brands engage in the higher value parts of the value chain, including branding, design, marketing, whilst leaving the labor-intensive, lowest return and lowest skilled activities such as garment manufacturing to firms in developing countries with access to large pools of low-wage labor. Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. The fashion industry produces over 100 billion items of clothing worldwide each year, with 3 out of 5 of these ending up in landfill within the same 12 months. So I would like to close by reminding everyone in the audience about the last goal, goal 17, partnership for the goals. As an industry, we must jointly re-examine business as usual, recognizing that everybody has a role to play in meeting the complex development challenges set out by the global goals. Let's not miss this great opportunity for a revolution which actually serves the interest of humanity as a whole. This is the time to look outwards, to think big and expansively, and make the right choices, so that our children can actually thank us instead of wondering why we let the apocalypse just happen. Collective action is the most powerful of all, and the global goals are our most formidable allies. So let's use them. Thank you.